what we were trying to achieve with our big push on social media was not re-engage an existing fan base, because we didn't really have one, is to actually create interest and potentially create a new fan base for what we were about to release. And then when we released the album, the idea of social media was we wanted to use it to help us get honest critique from abroad, as opposed to just, friends and family telling us what they thought of the album. Because, we love you, but you never tell the truth, so we never really know if we can trust you or not when it comes to opinions on things. But someone a couple continents away, who has no vested interest in a personal relationship with any of the band members, if they go out of their way to actually comment, there's a good chance that their commentary is genuine, even if it's negative. So, we used social media to try and litmus test, if we'd achieved our production goals of trying to produce a high quality product in a basement, and to see if the material had any traction or interest beyond the confines of our personal friend circles. What's working for us is, one of the funny things about our push on social media is we actually get a lot of feedback from other bands saying that we do it really well, and our social media offering is fairly comprehensive across virtually all platforms, and different content on each platform, to try and engage people regardless of where they come in to the stream. And then, so in that sense, what we've achieved through Design or by Accident was to bring people in from different avenues of social media towards our main site, which aggregates all of the content from all social media sites. So somebody coming in off Instagram interested in us might end up following us on Twitter, and vice versa, and YouTube and whatnot. So what we're seeing is a lot more international interaction with us than we are, more than anything. And that's actually been quite gratifying, because we're getting play around the world, and people talking about us, more so abroad than anything locally. I mean, I would say it's fair to say we're virtually unknown in our own home market, but it was nice to know basically that we were hitting the mark. Whether it's working on our own market or not, there's an appetite for the variety and the brand of rock and roll that we do create. So it's encouraging, and it bolsters us to keep creating and keep moving forward. So what has it done for us? It's validated our efforts and basically motivated us to push harder. What I would say to other bands looking for advice about using social media, is that one of the things I find is that a lot of the bands that we interact with don't, or barely use it at all. And I get it. It's a mentality where it's an older school mentality where it's like, I'm the musician, I'm the performer. It's, you have to come to me. It's not, I shouldn't be pimping myself out so aggressively to a potential audience. And I totally understand and respect that. But you need to, whether it comes off as annoying or not, aggressively engage your fans or potential fans. Because there's so much static out there. There's so many other things to draw their interest away, that you need to actively pursue your audience and actively engage them through regular interaction in social media. And not just telling. You need to ask your potential audience questions. You need to engage them in a way that other prescriptive media can't do, and social media is amazing for that. Because in a lot of instances, your fans do want to talk to you and do want to ask you questions, but if you put up that front that you're too cool for school, they're going to be intimidated and not ask questions, and they're not going to know they're not going to be as well informed about your your next performance or your new music video has come out or anything like that. So, you know, in my opinion, and we have some differing opinions within our own band, that if you're not to the point of annoying yourself, you're probably not doing nearly enough. And so if you don't feel overexposed and you are not feeling slightly sick of yourself and annoyed at your own efforts, then you're probably not trying hard enough. I know that doesn't sound right, but in terms of, think of it in terms of gestures, you know, from 1,000 feet away, a gesture like this is imperceptible, right? So think of social media in those terms. You know, there's a million distractions for every potential fan and viewer of your work, that you need broad strokes and bigger gestures to get the people in the back seats, right? To move up front, to move closer. And it's a weird analogy, but to simplify what I'm trying to say is that, let's say you start your Instagram and your Twitter accounts tomorrow as a new band. From day one, regardless of how many followers you have, treat every post like there's 10,000 people waiting to interact with you. That was my motto when I started my own personal Twitter account, and it's actually been very interesting, you know, over the past year watching it grow. And we've not as a band or me personally bought any likes or followers for any of our services and sites, because it's more interesting to see, you know, the people that actually come in, the legitimate people coming in. And I know there's that buy likes versus don't buy likes, because it's all about optics. I will agree with the fact that it is all about optics. Why would a band have social media other than sort of maybe a checklist thing of things you're supposed to have to seem like a legitimate organization? But, you know, that's why you should start your social media. But it shouldn't just end there. It is a fascinating into the minds of your potential friends and fans of your work, right? So, you know, get in there, ask them what they think, follow their accounts too, and check out what they're delivering, because social media has also been amazing about teaching me and teaching the band about, you know, obtaining new opportunities or even finding venues you'd never heard of before. You know, you follow other bands and see what they're doing. They're going to announce a gig at a club or a venue or a vendor or a photographer or a videographer or somebody you've never heard of whose work might be perfect for you. So, you know, don't just be prescriptive and tell with your social media accounts. Actually follow and observe, you know, other bands, because they're your peers in your market, and follow bands outside of your market to see what other markets are doing as well, and check out the venues in other markets as well. It's a constant 24-hour day, 7-day a week job, staying on top of what's current, what's trending, what's relevant. And I'm not talking on the artistic side. I'm talking about how social media is moving information back and forth and how bands are using it, you know. I find one of the funny things about what we've been doing is we didn't do any research, we didn't study, we don't really look at our metrics, but we'll create little, you know, impromptu campaigns for performances and interviews and appearances and whatnot, and then within weeks I'll see other bands basically doing exactly what we just did, similar campaign style, similar delivery, everything. And I find it quite gratifying that they're even coming to me and to us asking, you know, who does your campaigns for you? Who does your social media? And it's like, it's just us. You know, will you run my campaign or my band's campaign? I'm like, you know, maybe I'll have a career in that later, but for now, I don't have enough time to run my own band's campaigns, let alone take on 4, 5, 10 other bands' social media campaigns. You know, it's watch, listen, observe, interact. Starts out as an obligation, but it actually can be an educational